Hello, I am the Irish guy, and the Spanish treatment of Gareth Bale is an absolute disgrace. I mean, it's a joke. I would understand if this guy had the same burnabout career as Eden Hazard, who, yes, despite being a supremely gifted world-class superhero of a footballer, is going to have the Real Madrid legacy of a burnt cheese waffle. A £100 million onion cake who's only ever scored 4 league goals in nearly 3 years, whilst earning £400,000 a week. Then I could understand the anger. I mean, sure, then I can make my peace with the angry Madridistas wanting to cut off his nose with a fork. I mean, on paper, there should be no need for the Mbappe talk, because a front line of Bale, Hazard and Benzema, BHB, that should be the elite front three in world football, right? But no, for some reason, in Hazard's brain, that £100 million move was confirmation that he'd made it. And since then, he's clearly had the hunger, motivation and drive of Homer Simpson. I mean, that big money move was his Floyd Mayweather fight. So sure, now you can just spend your days drinking Pepsi and wolfing down chicken nuggets in the car. I mean, this is a guy who's refusing to leave Real Madrid, despite Carlo Ancelotti making it pretty clear that he values him the same way you'd value chicken pox on your knob. But Bale, this is a man who should be worshipped by his current club. I mean, he's been at Real Madrid for 9 years. Do you know how hard that is to achieve? I mean, he should be given a medal for that alone. 9 years of employment at Real Madrid. I mean, when he left Tottenham in 2013, I think everyone thought he might survive in Spain for maybe 18 months to 2 years, before inevitably getting homesick and winding up back in the Premier League via Man United or Chelsea, right? I mean, British footballers do not last long in La Liga. Good Christ, Michael Owen lasted a year at the Bernabeu before moving to Newcastle, agreeing to swap Zidane and Ronaldo for Titus Bramble and Charles Nzobia. Another one, Jonathan Woodgate, top-class defender in his day. Yeah, he was ditching Real Madrid for Middlesbrough after just 9 matches. I mean, Mark Hughes survived just 2 years at Barcelona. For Gary Lineker, it was 3. Both Steve McManaman and David Beckham only stuck it out at the Bernabeu for 4 years each, while Kieran Trippier only gave it 30 months in La Liga. Even Jermaine Pennant was back in England after 9 months, leaving sunny Zaragoza for the grubby streets of Stoke. And let's not forget, Real Madrid are a club who get bored quick. Price of both Mesut Ozil and Angel Di Maria are footballers arguably as talented as Bale, and they were only given a combined 7 years before being stuffed on a plane to England. Even Robinho, the original Neymar, the wonder kid of Europe, even he was only given 3 years before being sold age 24. So the fact that Bale has managed to last as long at this club as Cristiano Ronaldo, I think that proves that actually no, he's not this sugary wet pudding that La Liga like to paint him out to be. When Bale arrived in 2013, not only had Real Madrid not won the Champions League in 13 years, they were Europe's biggest bottle jobs. I mean, they were just last decade's PSG. Price well, they just failed in 3 consecutive semi-finals. But before that, they went out at the last 16 6 years in a row. This expensive Galactico era were being knocked out by Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Roma, Liverpool and Lyon at the first knockout stage every time. And yet, I don't remember the Spanish press picking on Figo, Zidane, Raul. And nah, they didn't enjoy badgering David Beckham though, because he rarely did interviews in Spanish, just like Bale. Oh, suddenly you could then paint him as some brain-dead village idiot with the intelligence of a dead hamster, right? I mean, in the end, Beckham just chose not to put up with it anymore, choosing to swap Real Madrid and the Spanish press hate for the goddamn MLS, aged just 32. But Bale, this has been nearly 10 years of criticism, gnawing away at his brain every day of his life. An entire decade of being under the microscope. I mean, Christ, well, look what that did to David Schwimmer. I mean, since 2004, clearly he spent every day eating deep-fried turkey out of the sink. I mean, Gareth Bale going out in public in Madrid, it's a risk. I mean, try and bring your wife and kids out for dinner in the city centre, and you'll be lucky if the waiter doesn't spit in your food. This is a guy who has helped you win the league twice, and the Champions League 4 times. I mean, Christ, well, that Copa del Rey winning goal against Barcelona, or even the bicycle kick against Liverpool in the Champions League final in Kiev, these should be crystallised moments which cement him as a legend of the club. But no, because he likes to play golf, because you won't catch him at red carpet events, with him instead preferring to just eat lasagna on the couch watching Breaking Bad with his son, the Spanish press treat him as if he just personally insulted the King of Spain. The Spanish media would probably reply to this:
we've never forgiven Bale for that dreadful flag he held up that said Wales Golf Madrid in that order.
Yeah, I'm about to shatter a myth for you. Gareth Bale did not hold up that flag. Nah, here he is, just seconds after Wales qualified for Euro 2020, with the flag actually actually being held up by Kiefer Moore and some bald Welsh coach. What do you expect Bale to do in that situation? Run away and cry? Maybe instead look at some of your own Spanish legends. When the shoe was on the other foot, like Cesc Fabregas. You know, the guy who set up the winning goal in the 2010 World Cup final for Spain. Yeah, an absolute national hero, right? Well, look at when Spain won that World Cup. And here was Fabregas, like Bale, swept up in celebrating a patriotic achievement, and then suddenly, Pepe Reina shoves a Barcelona shirt over his head. You know, while he was still employed by Arsenal? I mean, did the Spanish media suddenly run the story that Cesc was an unloyal rat? Some ungrateful, spoiled Spanish hobbit who should be thrown off a balcony? No, it wasn't his fault, so leave him alone. Real Madrid fans, after seeing that photo, if they bumped into Bale down the shops, I'm pretty sure they'd spit at him in the face. I mean, maybe toss a bacon and cheese baguette at his head. I mean, if they bump into him in an elevator, I'm sure they'd probably try and yank the ponytail off his skull. But back in 2011, did Arsenal fans boo and condemn Fabregas for this? No. We love you, Cesc Fabregas. Yeah, you see this? This is loyalty. Lads, back in 2015, the BBC accused Spanish paper Marca of having an agenda against Gareth Bale. You know, choosing to write him off as a big disaster flop. Just 6 months after the debut season where he scored 22 goals, including one in the goddamn Champions League final. Well, it's 7 years later and the bullying is still going on. I mean, Real Madrid were eating like a steak sandwich last week, losing 4-0 in El Clasico at home. I mean, this exact result happened in 2015, and of course, Bale was vilified in the press that week. But here, he wasn't even on the pitch, and yet still, of course, this is what came out.
The Bale Parasite came from the cold and rainy Britannia. He settled in Spain at Real Madrid, where masked he first showed diligence and love for the guests, but then his nature led to him suck blood without giving anything in return. Well, more than blood, he sucked the club's euros. Unlike others of its kind, such as the flea, the louse, or the bedbug, the Bale Parasite does not cause itching or illnesses in its host, but after sucking it, laughs and makes fun of it, showing a jocular contempt for the one whom he lives.
Christ above, what is this? It's like reading something written by Shakespeare's drunk cousin. You know, the one who was held back in school and shoves cauliflower up his nose. This is like some mediocre Twilight fan fiction.
He laughs, applauds, throws himself on the ground, sings this kind of humiliating ceremony word, which luckily has an expiration date, like all misfortunes.
And this little substandard English essay was tastefully accompanied by an image of a mosquito with Gareth Bale's head. I mean, Gareth Bale is right. This is an absolute disgrace. This guy has won you the Champions League 4 times, and you're mocking him up as a cartoon insect. Because Divock Origi scuffled in a goal against Tottenham in a Champions League final. I mean, that man, he can sign a new long-term Liverpool contract and spend the next 3 years eating burgers on the bench. I mean, he could even defecate in the middle of the club shop, and he would still be treated as a hero of the city. I mean, Christ, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer earned a second career in management based out of sticking out a big toe in Barcelona over 20 years ago. Bale deserves to be treated as a Madrid king, as part of the team which finally restored European greatness to this acclaimed club. But now, he's instead treated as some sort of leper, just some subhuman peasant. I mean, what do you want Bale to do? I mean, he got out of your hair for a year when he returned to Tottenham on loan, and he actually did okay. People forget, he scored 16 goals in just 11 starts. If Gareth Bale was this hideous flop that the media tried to paint out, then after 3 years, why would the club then have offered him a 5-year deal worth £350,000 a week? In 2016, when footballers are on such superhuman, massive monster wages, there are only a finite amount of places in the world they can go. This isn't news. I mean, Christ, as a result of this, yes, these megastars can outstay their welcome. We know this. But if they're a club legend, you just make allowances. Wayne Rooney was at Man United 4 years after he probably should have been sold. He should have gone when Fergie went. But you didn't have the Manchester Evening News sticking his face on a cockroach. I mean, if this was Alexis Sanchez, still refusing to budge from his comfy, well-paid beanbag in the Manchester United canteen after delivering nothing for the club, then yeah, I would be able to understand why he'd be seen as a vulture. You know, a leech. Sure, I mean, disgruntled United fans would then happily bribe his barber to slice off his ear. But Bale is not that. When you pay a man monster wages, his options to leave are shortened. I mean, why do you think he was this close to moving his family to the east coast of China? I mean, good job that deal collapsed, by the way, because that club, no longer exist. Christ, a financially crippled club with just 2 years left to live, and they were prepared to offer him wages of £1 million a week. I mean, I'm guessing within 6 months of his medical, they'd have been offering him jars of peanut butter and a bag of fish. Gareth Bale should be a warning to every top-class British footballer out there who gets linked with a move to Real Madrid. Wayne Rooney used to be repeatedly linked with moving to Madrid, especially back in 2010. that would have been a disaster. I mean, can you imagine poor old Harry Kane unveiled as a Galactico? A world-class footballer, yes, but does he look like the next Real Madrid superstar? Because Real Madrid are almost like the Hollywood of football. I mean, just look at David Beckham and Cristiano Ronaldo. They look like an adult boy band. You know, like football's answer to Take That. I mean, I'm sorry, you can be a 30-goal-a-season superstar, yes, but if you look like a chubby Jack Black, so you know, someone looks like he hasn't showered in 7 months and who probably eats pizza off his stomach, then the snobby Madrid fans and the press are going to turn their nose up at you. I just know that an unfashionable Harry Kane, who's got the diction of a malfunctioning microwave, he'll be taken to the cleaners. His life will be made a misery. Just like Bale, he'd be blamed for defeats to Barcelona, with entitled Madrid fans kicking his Bentley in the car park. The press would soon be sticking his head on a cartoon Lady Bird. It's just a poisonous place to be. I mean, with Barcelona are slightly different. I can imagine if someone like Phil Foden moved there, I think they would appreciate him, celebrate him, put him in a field of Pedri, and they'd be seen as the next Iniesta and Xavi. Even Trent Alexander-Arnold, he'd be another Dani Alves. But Real Madrid, they are different. And the Spanish press, the way they treat British players who don't speak the language, it's a career death trap. And Bale is right, honestly, it's a disgrace. Anyway, that's what to do. Let me know, what do you think? What do you think, alright? Is Bale being treated unfairly? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.